thank you so much for joining us and making time for us. Hopefully everyone will enjoy this one-on-one that we will be having with you as the Fireballs coach and of course the SPAR Proteas assistant coach. Looking forward to this conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. I cannot wait to share a little bit of my story with you and whoever else will be viewing this footage.
All right, let's get started. So let's take it way back, back to the beginning. How did your netball journey start and where?
My netball journey started quite funny. I always take an opportunity to share this story every chance I get, actually. It started way back in Malamulele, where I was born, out in Limpopo. And it started quite funny because I was not a netball player. I played football, I played volleyball, baseball, everything else except for netball. One fateful day, the school had a match that afternoon, and the basketball coach, Mr. Matipolo, was like, listen, I know you play basketball. You've never played netball in your life, but we are one player short today. Are you able to assist us? I was like, I don't even know how to play that thing. And she's like, no, don't worry. You're just going to post up, you'll stand, stick your arms up in the air, and then we'll just put the ball in your hands. You just turn around and you shoot. I'm like, but can I dribble, drop step? Like, no, you can't. I'm like, but there's no backboard. How do we shoot?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's part of the trick. Okay, you can run, you can dribble, you can drop step, can bounce. There's no backboard, and that's the reality of the sport. I'm like, it's a bit hard. It's like, no, just try it. You'll like it. Yeah, I played. Needless to say, I did make quite a few footwork mistakes, but it all worked out because we won. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. It's a sport I could play. I don't like the fact that you can't grab the ball out of people's hands, you can't push people, but you're running around. It's okay, and we can play it. And that was the beginning of netball and Dumisani being mentioned in the same sentence.
And what happened from there onwards? I mean, here you are being asked to step in because Bashota, and you guys end up winning. I mean, what motivated your decision in being like, what, I really enjoy the sport, I'm gonna join. And now because you need to take the next step in trying to learn the sport and just trying to master your craft as well. Can you take us through those moments?
Well, after realizing that it's a sport that I could add on to the list of the other things that I was doing, yeah, I then got interested in the sport. I attended the training sessions, so now I had to juggle volleyball, basketball, football, and now netball. So 4 sporting codes. I dropped tennis. Tennis is not nice because it's just you and a racket and you're hitting. I was like, no, we can drop you. I was like, okay, softball, baseball, okay, which one? Nah, we can actually drop you. Let's leave this sport. I like this sport because you're running, you're stretching, there's always people around, and that whole social aspect of the sport. So yeah, I got into it. I moved from Malamulele to Polokwane to a new school, and unfortunately we didn't really have formal sport that first year, but we would play socially. Like everyone who was interested in netball, who was interested in football, in basketball, would all get together after school and just play socially. And we didn't even have a coach. I remember I was the head girl of the school, the first head girl of the school, and one of my things that I tried to initiate was that we need to have sport. We need to have sport days. We need to interact and play with other schools as well, compete with other schools as well, because from an early age, I understood the benefits that one gets from participating in sports altogether.
Hey, you were definitely one multi-talented individual. I mean, on the field, off the field. I mean, it just, no wonder you are where you are today,
Yeah, it takes a lot of juggling. I mean, if I hadn't played all those sports when I was growing up, I don't think I would have learned so early in my life how to manage myself, how to manage my time, how to stay motivated, and how to be disciplined. And so I thank my younger self for teaching me at my younger age all those lessons.
And what positions did you play? I know as coaches, you know, you guys always teach us to be very versatile, to not marry a position, you know. But what positions did you play? I kind of have a feeling you played everything, but
I wish to know I didn't play everything. No, so because I'm tall, automatically they took me to the hoops, to the shooting circle and also the defensive circle, and that is why I played both goal shooter and goalkeeper throughout my years in netball. But also that stems from the basketball part as well, because in basketball everyone shoots, everyone attacks, everyone plays offense, then everyone defends as well. So there's no designated people that okay, you're the only one who's going to defend, you're the only one who's going to shoot. So in basketball everyone does that, and when it came to netball, it was quite easy for me to play both positions because I understood the fundamentals of attack and defense.
And when did you venture into coaching? You know, when did you decide to hang up your boots and be like, okay, this is what I'm focusing on right now, and I'm very passionate about this, and I'm going to do this coaching thing?
Well, again, just like my involvement in netball, it happened by accident. When I went down to PE, I was doing my first year in like things just happened, you
Just
know.
like
But
you.
now looking back, I'm like, but nothing actually just happens. Like we think it's a coincidence. No, it was not. It was orchestrated by someone somewhere, and someone somewhere knew that it was all going to work out, and it did. So when I was studying in my first year sport management down at PE Tech before it became Nelson Mandela University, part of sports management was that we had to work practical hours, and those practical hours either you could coach at a school, at a university, or you would volunteer somewhere with some other sporting activity. So I started coaching at Erica Girls High with Jenny Sharp. She's still involved with netball down in the Eastern Cape. So she would take me and say, listen, I know you want practical hours, but actually you can actually get your practical hours, learn how to coach, and make a bit of pocket money for yourself. Which student would say no to pocket money? So yeah, that's when I started coaching. I started coaching the primary schools, and then I graduated to a bit of high schools when I started doing, you know, I started realizing I enjoy this netball thing. So let me just yes, I enjoy playing netball, but now I'm enjoying the part where I'm imparting the knowledge that I have at my tender age of 17, 18. I'm enjoying standing on the side of the court and teaching these girls how to catch a pass, teaching them how to stop, change direction, letting them see the game in a different way, teaching them different skills that at their age they wouldn't necessarily have, but then preparing them for when they do decide to stay in the sport and they play in a senior level. So graduated from primary schools to high schools, eventually graduated to university teams when Nelson Mandela University then came together. And I then started coaching like the D reserves. So we had A team, B team, but each team or each league had reserves. So we have A reserve, B reserve, C reserve, D reserve. That's where I started coaching. Yeah. Talk about the D reserve, right? Let me take you back. So when I was in high school at Capricorn in Polokwane, 14 years old, 13 years old, under 14s, I get there and I need some come from Malamulele. I was, you know, this tall kid, superstar. Get there, went to the trials, Netball. Guess what team I was selected in?
D.
Yes, D for Dumisani.
Johnny, when you were a superstar.
Darling, I was a superstar in my own little bubble. Hey, I get there. I'm like, no, I'm like, no, I'm actually good. Like,
yeah.
Oh, but girl, the team, I was like, I'll show you what DIF stands for. It stands for Dumisani. By the end of the year, you will know my name.
True.
And yeah, and I made the first, I made not the first, I made the under 14 A team by the end of the season. I'm like, yeah, so who's playing in the D team now? But yeah, talk about D. D for Dumisani. Now I go to varsity. I get there, I start coaching, D reserve. I know. Yeah, it was real.
And I mean, I don't think people understand, that it's not as easy, to just wake up and be like, okay, you're going to coach the first team. No, you start at the bottom, what? And
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that are involved in just making sure that you also move up the ladder as well. Please take us through
yeah,
some of those things as well, in terms of also making sure, I mean, as coaches, you guys need to be graded as well,
yeah.
just there's a lot that is involved, and people just think, when you just wake up and you're just like, no, I want to coach this team.
I I wish it was that easy. So like I said, I did my SA level 1 because part of the qualification for sport management, if you were going to be coaching kids, you had to have the little card, the membership card. So I did my level 1. I did the theory part, and then we did practicals back then, and I passed my practical. I'm like, okay, I'm a SA level 1 coach. I still know my um, I'm a 105, my level, yeah, 105. I know my membership number.
Hmm.
Yeah. And a couple of years later, I started graduating. I went from D reserve to the D. I went to the C reserve, then went up to the C, graduated to the B reserve, went up to the B, then graduated to A reserve. But when I was with the Bs and the A reserves, I then realized that actually I could make a career out of this. And this was influenced by the coaches that I had. So Mareka Alloway, she was our coach at the university. I still interact with her till this day. She was one of our coaches. She was a brilliant, brilliant coach. And then, of course, Lana Kriche, she is still with Madibas. She is also coaching the SA under 21. She's a specialist coach for the SA under 21 team as well. So those two had a huge influence on me wanting to be a coach, because it just showed me a different side of the sport, number one. Number two, they were able to impact our lives without them realizing that they're impacting our lives in a positive way, just by them being our coaches. And that's when I was like, okay, I want to do this level 2. Did the theory. Pause. That was nice and easy. Next thing we had to do, hey, practical. So the practical for level 2 was just myself and Lana. So mind you, she was my coach at that point in time, and I was just starting and trying to get into this whole coaching thing. And we had Danny Benny Sneman. She was the coaches convener at that time, and she flew down to PE to do our practical. Okay, so Lana went, like we prepared the whole week, like, okay, this is a session, this is my session, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, rah, 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 rah. Hey, my coach did hers, Lana, passed everything, fine. Then came this student. I did whatever I needed to do, but then I failed one section. One. This is a Friday afternoon. I'm like, no, but I can't fail.
Yeah.
But then Benny was very kind. And then she was like, listen, I'll give you a chance. I only fly out Saturday evening. I'll give you a chance again tomorrow morning, and we can just do that section again. I can see you know what you are doing. But remember, when you are coaching, it's about you being able to teach it in a way that people can receive it. Yes, you know what you're doing, you know how to do it, but how are you bringing it across so whoever you are teaching understands it fully? And I was like, so that night I actually thought to myself, there's nothing wrong with what I was doing. Maybe it's my approach to it. And that then started this chain of thought where I started thinking about my coaching style and what kind of coach I wanted to be. The stuff I was doing was fancy stuff. It was complicated stuff. And I said, no, actually, I need to break this down to a level that it becomes so simple that even people that don't play netball can understand it and get it.
Sure.
And I guess that's what my approach actually, that's when my coaching approach actually started. Like, listen, I'm not doing this because I want to sound intelligent or want to have complicated fancy stuff. We're doing this to make it as simple as possible for people to understand it so they can take it and apply it. Needless to say, I aced my session that Saturday morning. I got my SA level 2. Yeah, girl. And hey, I was like, it felt like I'd won like a major award, but like, ooh, let's celebrate. Like, no, just level 2. Got it, And I guess from there, things just started happening because I then became a player coach. Lana was already grooming me and mentoring me to becoming a coach for the first team. And so for, I think, 2 years, I was a player coach. And then there was a time where she had to pull out. And then I then became the head coach of Madivas. That started in 2014 and 2015. I think I was still, how old was I? No, I don't want to give away my age, but yeah, I was pretty young.
You know, as I'm chatting to you now, I remember when I was interviewing the TNL players, you know, the netball players just before TNL actually started for Netball South Africa when we had our live lockdown TVs and stuff. And I'd ask the players, I'd be like, so where to from here with netball? You know, like, what do you want to do with the sport? You know, I'm sure you just don't want to play. Do you see yourself coaching? And 90% of them were like, I will not coach netball. And I was just like, why? What do coaches go through? Like, maybe you can tell me why people don't want to be coaches.
No, like you said earlier, you know, people think you can just wake up and go and coach. And some people do that and they get the weirdest wake up call and they're like, no, but this thing is not as glamorous as it looks. And next thing they don't want it. Because I think maybe Nati, we are selling it the wrong way to them. They see the made up us sitting on a bench on the TV screen. Sometimes you look calm on the outside, inside. Hey, yay, yay, and your head is like, and then so yeah. So I think sometimes we sell the wrong picture by staying calm, but it's conversations like this that actually bring people into our world and expose them and show them that, listen, it's not all glamorous. I think the glam part is about 0.5%, if not 1% of the actual job. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It takes a lot of sacrifice, commitment, dedication, a lot of time away from friends, from family, from loved ones. I mean, there were times where, I mean, when we go, I'll just give an example, like where when we go away with on tour, whether it's with the TUT team, whether it's with provincial team or Netball South Africa, as a coach, you are constantly thinking and analyzing and preparing for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And also, yes, you're looking at what you have in your team, who might be the players that are going to play, but looking at your competition, now you need to analyze the competition and say, okay, so this is their strengths, this is their weaknesses. Okay, we need to minimize them on their strength and we force more of their weaknesses so we can get more turnovers. Who can best match this? And then now you start a process of elimination. So your mind is constantly working. Because, yeah, and imagine if you play, like we go to USA and you play about 2 games in a day. You don't even sleep. You think you're sleeping. Your mind is working. Your mind is working at night because you need to wake up in the morning. You need to prepare for your 8 o'clock game and again for a 3 o'clock game. And none of the teams that you are playing against have the same style of play. The coaches don't have a similar style of coaching. Their strengths and weaknesses are not the same. So you need to match or know how you're going to counter all of that. Besides all of that, there's still all those other processes where you need to do administration. Yep, paperwork, documentation, because when it comes to a process like RPL, it's just a matter of you being able to prove and have evidence of the work that you've done or the work that you're currently doing, or actually you having your own portfolio and documenting everything that you do, be it physically in a book, in a file, or digitally now, seeing that people have gone digital as well. So it's not just about getting there and standing next to a court and start swimming. We even prepare for those sessions way in advance. When we even start with the periodization and the planning for the season, because you know this is what we are working towards. At this point in time, I need the players to be at this level of fitness. This is the kind of skill we need to start doing because we are preparing for competition in 3 or 4 weeks. These are the kind of exercises that they need to be doing. Can't do this, can't do that. Need to bring more of this. Hey,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Hey, we could talk until next week.
And I mean, I can just literally see it, you know. And at the end of the day, netball coaches are human as well, but you guys need to have some sort of strength that I don't know where you guys get it from. And I'm saying this because I'm going to take it back to the TNL and ask
Yeah.
you, how do you keep the players motivated? And I'll elaborate on why I'm asking you this question. I mean, here you are, you're furious, but still trying to act calm. You know, you also have to lead and as an example, because as players, we're also motivated by the coach. You know, if the coach shows character and strength and, you know, positivity, then we can also build from that. But
Yeah.
I mean, your team, the Fireballs, you were 5 to making it into the final. You lose in the semis by 1 goal. As a spectator, I'm already fainting. Like, yo, I'd faint, I'd die. What are you going through? And you still have to motivate your team to still go and win and play the third and fourth place playoff. I guys, no, I please give us some recipe because I don't know.
TNL 2020 was one of the realest tournaments I've ever coached in. And I said to myself, if you survive this season, you'll survive anything. You made it through the season, you're okay.
Yeah.
And it was my first time being the head coach in a A division, because previously I was head coach in the B division in Limpopo Baobabs, and now I've been assistant coach to the Jaguars and the Fireballs previously, but now I was the one with the neck on the chopping block. One thing that we created for ourselves at the Fireballs was a unit. It's not about the coach, not about the players, it's not about the superstars, it's about us as a unit and what we do together. That's the first thing that we did. We built such a strong bond that we had so much trust in each other and in our circle. Yes, to the outside world, it felt like, they should be breaking down. But because we had that unity, we had that trust and that confidence in each other, we were so comfortable around each other that we could show our true colors, right? People don't know this, and because we don't share this part of what happens inside the circle. After the game, we had our chat on the side of the court, and I said, okay, guys, let's get on the bus. So usually on the bus ride from the competition venue to the hotel is where we have our most real conversations. It's where we scream, it's where we shout, it's where we cry. We all cry, all of us. Like, I'll be screaming and well, not necessarily screaming and shouting, but if you keep quiet in a moment where players are asking themselves, the self-doubt is going to start coming in. Maybe the coach doesn't trust us. Maybe the coach doesn't have confidence in us anymore. So the approach that we had at the Fireballs, that whether it goes well or doesn't go well, in the bus, from the venue to the hotel, we let it out. So when we get to the venue, we've cried, we've laughed, we've screamed, we've shouted. We'll get back to the hotel. Okay, all the emotions are gone. Now we deal with ourselves. We deal with the actual reason of what happened. We go and we look at our games. We evaluate ourselves. So yes, we look calm, deep down. And one thing I appreciate about the girls is that, about the team itself, yes, as coaches, we need to allow players to be able to express themselves, to be able to be confident. But they were so welcoming in a way that they even allowed us as management to be comfortable. And hence I said, there were tears that night, like that night on the bus, everyone. And when I asked them, like, okay, I understand we were all crying because it was here, like it was right here. And one thing that one of the girls said is like, they feel like they've let me down. I was like, what? You played the best game of your lives now. Not a chance did you do that. Yes, it didn't go the way we wanted it to go, or maybe the way we had planned for it to go. But other things happened and we lost it by one, just one. And it's okay. We have an opportunity to come back tomorrow and get a bronze. We still have an opportunity to make history for the Fireballs, because the Fireballs have never won a medal since Brutal Food, since TNL. So we are still in there. We are still in the top 3. Yes, it's not the finish that we wanted, but we can still go out there and make history. and still be proud of ourselves, still play netball because we enjoy it and still support each other. And that's how we actually came back motivated to win again against these things, because I said to them, listen, it didn't go as planned last night. It's a brand new day. We've rested. We know what we need to do. We know what their strengths are. We know what our strengths are. We need to illuminate our strengths, illuminate their weaknesses so they can start fighting a bit of self-doubt in their minds. And we just take it one center pass at a time, one goal at a time, and we get our bronze medal. And that's exactly what we did.
Sure, and you guys were great. I mean, all the teams are actually great. The players actually showed up, even during these unprecedented times, during these under new norms, Looking at netball, what do you think the future looks like for netball?
Ooh, I wish I was a fortune teller. I would tell you, but
let me just break it down a bit. As we approach 2023 for the Netball World Cup for South Africa, are we on track? Are we doing well? Are we trying?
Yeah, we take heart in the fact that we do know that our players are playing out there. So we do have a number of players that are overseas. We do have a number of players that are here in the country. Most of them are attached to a university, which means they do get, or they are part of a high performance system. And we hopefully will be having TNL, which means we'll have competition, because nothing counts more than game time. You can do all the training, you can do all the preparation, you can do all those things. If you don't literally get onto a netball court and you play, yeah, it's a different story.
It's a different story indeed. But before I wrap up this interview, because you also have to go, what do you still need to do, on your netball bucket list? I mean, there's so much that you've achieved. Some things you just didn't plan for. They're just like, hey, it must happen.
Yeah, I do have two things on my bucket list. Number one would be attending a Netball World Cup. I've been to an Under-21 World Cup. I've been to the senior one. I've been to Commonwealth Games. It's just World Cup that is on the bucket list. And then the other one is a bit more personal, more on the administration side of things.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll keep it at that for now. When it happens, you will understand.
No, it's definitely gonna happen. After hearing your story and how multi-talented you are, I think when you put your mind into something, it does eventually happen. So I do have faith, and I guess I'll just be, checking you out on the lookout and see what you have in store for us. Thank you so much for making time for us. I really enjoyed this chat. I wish you all the best, and looking forward to seeing what you have in store for us, especially on the netball side of things as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Dikeledi. I wish you and everyone else who will be watching this all the best with 2021. Remember to stay safe. Keep your mask on, wash your hands, sanitize, maintain social distancing. And if you can stay at home, please stay at home.